In the vast tapestry of American history, there are threads that have been frayed, torn, and in some cases, completely erased. We learn about the great nations, the Sioux, the Cherokee, the Navajo. But what about the names that have faded from our textbooks and our collective memory? What about the cultures that vanished, leaving behind only whispers and enigmatic artifacts? Today, we journey into the shadows of the past to uncover the stories of Native American tribes you've likely never heard of, cultures erased from history. Let's begin on the sun-scorched plains of the American Southwest. Long before European contacts, a sophisticated society flourished here, known to us as the active from around 300 to 1500 AD in what is now Arizona. The Hohokam were master engineers. Imagine a desert landscape transformed into a thriving agricultural hub. They constructed one of the most extensive and complex irrigation networks in the ancient world, with canals stretching for hundreds of miles to water their crops of corn, beans, and squash. Their craftsmanship was extraordinary. They created intricate pottery, delicate shell jewelry traded from as far as the Gulf of California, and were among the first people in North America to practice acid etching on shells. But by the time the first Spanish explorers arrived, the Hohokam were gone. Their grand settlements were abandoned, their canals filled with sand. What happened? Theories range from prolonged drought and environmental collapse to internal social conflict or devastating diseases. Their descendants are believed to be the Tohono O'odham and Pima peoples, who carry on traditions, but the great Hohokam civilization itself simply ceased to exist, leaving a profound and silent mystery in the desert. Now, let's travel east to the dense, humid forests of the Mississippi River Valley. Here, another powerful culture rose and fell. The Mississippians. This wasn't a single tribe, but a sprawling civilization of interconnected city-states that dominated the region from about 800 to 1600 AD. Their hallmark was the construction of massive earthen mounds, flat-topped pyramids that served as platforms for temples, elite residences, and burial sites. The largest of these cities, Cahokia, near modern-day St. Louis, was a metropolis. At its peak, it was larger than London at the time, with a population of up to 20,000 people. Cahokia was the center of a vast trade network that spanned the continent from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico. They had a complex social hierarchy, with a powerful chief ruling over a stratified society of priests, warriors, and commoners. They practiced large-scale agriculture, played a ceremonial game called chunki, and had a sophisticated understanding of astronomy, aligning their mounds and wood henges with celestial events. But like the Hohokam, Cahokia was deserted before Europeans arrived. By 1350, this once bustling city was a ghost town. The reasons are still debated. By archaeologists, was it resource depletion, climate change, political instability, or perhaps the arrival of new diseases that swept through the population? The great Mississippian culture fragmented, its people scattering and reforming into the tribes we know today like the Creek and but the centralized power and monumental scale of their civilization vanished forever. Our journey now takes us to the windswept coasts of Newfoundland, Canada, to learn about the Beothuk people. Their story is one of the most tragic examples of a culture completely wiped out by European contact. The Beothuk were the original inhabitants of the island, a unique, hunter-gatherer society with a distinct culture. One of their most notable customs was covering their bodies and belongings with red ochre, a practice that likely led early Europeans to coin the term Red Indians. This was a sacred and deeply symbolic act for them. They lived in conical homes called mametiques and were skilled canoe builders, navigating the harsh Atlantic waters to hunt seals and seabirds. When Europeans, first the Vikings and later fishermen from England, France, and Portugal, began arriving, conflict was inevitable. The Europeans encroached on their traditional hunting and fishing grounds, leading to skirmishes and a cycle of violence. But the most devastating factor was disease. The Bayathak had no immunity to European illnesses like smallpox and tuberculosis, which decimated their population. Forced into the interior of the island, cut off from their coastal resources, they slowly starved. The last known Beathik, a woman named Shanadithit, died in 1829. With her death, an entire language, an entire culture, an entire world view was lost to the world forever. Their story is a heartbreaking reminder of the devastating impact of colonization. Let's move south to the coast of Texas and northeastern Mexico to find the Karang. By the mid-19th century, the few remaining survivors were absorbed into other tribes or simply disappeared, their culture and language vanishing from the Texas coast they had called home for generations. Finally, we head to California, a land that was once one of the most linguistically and culturally diverse places on Earth. Before the Spanish missions, hundreds of distinct tribes and languages flourished. Among them were the Salinan people of the Central Coast, near what is now the Salinas Valley. They were a hunter-gatherer society with deep spiritual beliefs centered on the natural world. They had a rich oral tradition, complex ceremonies, and were skilled basket weavers. But their world was shattered with the arrival of the Spanish and the establishment of the mission system. The Salinan people were forcibly relocated to missions San Antonio and San Miguel. Here, their traditional way of life was destroyed. They were forced to labor, convert to Christianity, and abandon their language and cultural practices. Diseases ran rampant in the crowded, unsanitary conditions of the missions, and their population collapsed. After Mexico won independence and secularized the missions, the remaining Salinan people were left landless and destitute. For many years, they were even declared extinct by the U.S. government. However, against all odds, their descendants have survived. Today, the Salinan people are fighting for federal recognition, working tirelessly to revive their language, reclaim their heritage, and prove that they were not erased from history. Their struggle is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The stories of the Hohokam, the Mississippians, the Beothuk, the Karankawa, and the Salinan are just a few threads in a much larger, often hidden narrative. They represent hundreds of other cultures that have been lost, silenced, or pushed to the brink. They remind us that history is not a single, monolithic story but a complex mosaic with many pieces missing. By seeking out these forgotten stories, we honor the memory of those who came before us and gain a richer, more complete understanding of the land we live on today. The echoes of these lost tribes are all around us, in the names of our rivers and cities, in the crops we eat, and in the enduring spirit of their descendants who continue to fight for their heritage. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. The stories of these lost cultures are profoundly important. If you found this video meaningful, please help us share these stories by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. And we'd love to hear from you in the comments. What other lost histories should we explore next? Thanks for watching.
If you love uncovering the truth, don't forget to subscribe. More hidden history is coming every week, only on History Uncovered.